Have you ever like seen images online and been like, wow, these are crazy photos? Maybe you're scrolling through and just so blown away by what people are able to capture, and then you look at your own and you're kind of like, nah, that's not it. Because I know I definitely have, but I think I figured out somewhat of a cheat code to help you get your photos looking like the pro photos, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I'm gonna need to capture a couple of photos out here today, so we've come down to this beautiful little location. I'm walking in this jungle and we're gonna end up on the beach for sunset. But I need these photos so I can show you guys essentially what this cheat, or this one thing that all photographers should at least try, is all about. And then I'll show you guys how we're actually gonna transform these photos later on. And by the way, it's not some like color grading or something like that. It's kind of actually like cheating. I'm shooting on my A7S III, but you can shoot on whatever you want and it's still gonna make sense. The light isn't quite how I wanted it. It would be ideal if there was like light rays or something coming through all of these little gaps in the leaves. But the sun's kind of in the wrong place, so we'll see how it works out. We're gonna keep moving down. I also want to shoot some like self-portrait style photos of myself. I think that's going to be quite cool, and have like a subject in the image is going to be really nice. So we're going to do that a little further down as well. It's pretty overcast, so we're not getting that like golden light that I really wanted, but I'm going to take a photo of this little shipwreck because it's quite nice and colorful, and I can get one that the sun is behind the camera, so it's gonna light it up quite nicely and we'll have like some nice soft light. I also want to get one kind of portraity one on the beach here, and I think I have an idea for it over there, but before I get ahead of myself, let's get a photo of this shipwreck. Okay, I got one more shot before we head back to the studio and I show you guys the actual magic part of this whole thing. But there's this really nice log that I can use as leading lines, so I'm gonna get like a self-portrait thing. I think it will work quite well. I can put the camera on the tripod and use a timer. We're back in studio and I'm really excited to show you guys the little magic sauce that we have to actually make these photos look cool. Now, when we went out, it ended up being that the weather was quite bad. It was really overcast, and a lot of the photos turned out, well, kind of like average looking, which is actually perfect in this case because I can show you guys how to turn those average photos into like amazing photos using the little cheat code that we are talking about in today's video. What is the cheat code? It's AI software from a company called Luminar Neo, and we can basically like take photos and just take them to a whole nother level, and I want to show you guys how we're actually going to do that in today's video. So let's jump straight in. We're going to start off with our little shipwreck photo here. I think it's cool, but you can see that it's super overcast, it's flat, it doesn't look like crazy. It's borderline like not usable. I probably wouldn't post this onto my feed, but let's see what we can do to like tweak this and make it look way better. We're gonna start out by just getting some lens correction because we have kind of this barrel-y style distortion and some of this black in the corners. So we can go to optics, we can go to auto distortion correction. That helps a lot, and then we can just tweak it a little bit to take away any of that, and we take away a bit of the vignette around our edges as well. Now we can actually head to some of our super cool like AI style enhancements. So the first thing I want to do is head over to landscape, and I'm just gonna go AI mask because it's gonna select everything. It has this cool little graphic. It's gonna separate everything so we can edit the fine tune points that we actually want to. So you can see it's broken everything down. We've got sky, and you can show that sky, and then we can show flora, and architecture is probably gonna get our ship. Yep, and man-made ground is probably gonna be the beach. So now that it's all split up, we can edit each of these items in our photo individually. And some of the things that I just want to start doing to this is, first of all, I want to make it seem a little more sunsetty because we had that really overcast, like kind of style weather, and I wanted like a nice sunset shoot. The next thing I'm gonna do is go to structure. I'm just gonna pump it up a little bit. It kind of just makes the whole thing pop a little bit more. Here's where it gets really cool, because check this out. I wanted a cool sunset. We didn't get that. I'm gonna head over here to sky, and I'm gonna go to sky selection. We've already done our masking, and once you do it once for the image, it's done. You don't need to do it again, and you don't need to wait for it. So I'm gonna find something cool that suits our mood here, and literally just by the click of a button, it's gonna completely transform that sky into like an epic sunset. I wanna just change it a little bit to make it slightly more realistic. I wanna have that off to the edge, which is kind of where it was. And then I'm also just gonna wanna go back to our landscape. I'm gonna bring up the gold now a bit more to make the rest of it look like it fits in with that beautiful sunset that we have going on there in the background. Take dehaze a little bit, foliage enhancer, and now that's looking way, way better. Take a look at the before and after of this one. Now the second one, the edited version in Luminar, is definitely usable and it looks amazing. So for the demonstration of this video, I want to pull in a different photo from another day, because I want to show you some really crazy portrait techniques, but the portrait we got on the beach wasn't that nice for demonstrating this. But you can see I've got this photo from back in Cape Town here. It's a little shot of me. First thing I want to do is just crop this in because it's a bit too wide. We got this junk in the bottom, which is kind of distracting and not really looking that nice. So we're gonna go 4x5, and I'm gonna crop in a little bit more than that. Put me right in the center of the frame there. We can go to our structure. We'll just bring that up a little bit. It's gonna make it look more poppy, the same way as that last one, but here's where it gets fun. We are going to go to portrait bokeh because it was shot in quite a high f-stop, and that background is too in focus to really like isolate our subject. So the first thing we're gonna do is just crank up this portrait bokeh, and then you can see instantly the background is getting way more out of focus. It looks way shallower. It's selected us automatically, and everything else is just getting pushed out of focus, and already that's looking like the subject, myself, is popping way, way more. So the background is really bright, which is also distracting from the subject a little bit. So I'm gonna go to brightness far, and I can just take that down a little bit. It's gonna bring everything that's in that depth of my photo. So I've selected far, everything far away. It's gonna make it a little darker. You can see that's already way better. That background isn't way overexposed and like distracting from the subject of the photo. Looking really, really nice, and with a couple more fine tweaks, you can see the before and after for this one. Way different, and in my opinion, this portrait looks far superior to the other one. Here's our third image, and this is the one that I shot in the little jungle there. Now, originally in my mind, I wanted this photo of this really cool looking tree, but I wanted these light rays coming through. And again, because of that overcast weather, the time of day, it just didn't really work out like that. We don't have any light rays, and the whole image kind of looks a bit flat. So there is something very cool that we can do here in Luminar Neo to make sure that we can actually get the sun rays that we wanted. I can head over to sun rays here, place sun center. I think the sun was like somewhere around here. So we're gonna have that, and then we're gonna add in our light rays. Oh, looks crazy cool. You can change a bunch of the ways that the sun is gonna be presented. You can also like move the sun rays around, how many, randomize, just to tweak it in a way that you wanted. I think that looks quite cool where it's coming down into the bottom of the frame there. If we wanted to make this look just a little bit more realistic, we can take our erase brush and just move some of them away from where those branches might be. I've turned the strength down a lot, and it almost gives it this feeling of some of the rays actually going behind the branches. And I think it looks really, really cool. You don't want to go too overboard with this, but I think something like that is looking really, really nice. The other thing I wanted to do is just mess with the atmosphere a bit, and I can select fog, and I can kind of like bring in a bit of this haze just to make that look even more like it was that light rays coming through the fog kind of vibe that we were going for. And the other thing I want to do is just make the background a little bit brighter, like our actual image. So we can just go to develop, go to exposure, shadows, let's take the highlights down a little bit. And if you take a look at this image versus the before, this one is epic. This is what I saw in my brain, but I couldn't actually capture it. But with having Luminar Neo, I can add all of that stuff in the edit. That's gonna be it, guys. I hope you found these tips useful and you can see how powerful Luminar Neo AI editing software actually is. Without this, these photos would not really be usable. With Luminar Neo, I would be happy to post any one of these photos. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to find out anything more, Luminar Neo is going to be linked in the top of the description. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have fun. Bye.